Hey all my beautiful friends, Tracy here with Just to Get Farms, and it is a beautiful evening. It's cool, it's nice, and the garden is showing out. The roses and the perennials are really starting to open up, and the garden is really starting to be beautiful. I've still got a whole lot of planting to do. I've just barely got started on my vegetable planting. We had the YouTubers meet and greet and the party in the Potager out here, which was fantastic. We enjoyed meeting so many of y'all, and it was a wonderful weekend. And really, honestly, I didn't want it to end. We were just having so much fun, and it was just so awesome getting to hang out with everybody, and it was a great weekend. I am the type personality that I love people. I am a social butterfly, and I love people. And when I'm with people, you're going to get everything that I've got. You're gonna get 100% of me. You're gonna get all the love I have to give, and you're gonna get everything I've got. But then I've got to refuel by being alone. I have got to recharge and refuel in my garden, or just alone, just spending time alone. That's how I recharge. So I love people and I love hanging out with people, but I need time to refuel and recharge and be alone. And after this long weekend of a very eventful weekend, a full weekend, my body just kind of gave out on me, and I've been under the weather just about the whole entire week. So I really hadn't got to get in my garden, and I'm walking out here now, and my garden is just bursting with beauty. So I had to grab my camera, and I want to give you guys a little tour of the garden. Now I've got some weeds that's popping up. I've got to get out here and do some weeding and some watering. There's some things out here that's kind of wilted up a little bit, but I'm going to take care of all that tomorrow. I just want to show you guys what's happening out here. It's so beautiful. This Verdun Rose is really starting to open up and show out. I love this pink. It just really pops against this lamb's ear. It looks so pretty. And then right behind it here, I've got an ARTEMISIA, and it is called VALERIE FINNACE ARTEMISIA, and it gets fairly tall. Probably like about 3 feet tall maybe, but it's really pretty. Especially I like to use it in arrangements. Look at this Henry Duelberg Salvia. Man. The catmint is really starting to show out. So pretty. And then Quietness Rose. This is probably my all-time favorite rose. Look how beautiful she is. Oh my gosh. I did a video all about Quietness Rose and the history. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's got a sweet story. This rose is Lamarne. all of my hydrangeas have filled out nicely. These are little limes, and the ones way over there in front of the porch are limelights. Now my gardenia is looking a little bit sad, and what this is, whenever you have your gardenia and your leaves turn this yellow like this usually means there's an iron deficiency. And I gave it a dose of Dr. Iron, and I can tell a big change in it since I gave it that, but it just takes a while for it to get in there and get to working on it. But none of these have opened up and started blooming yet, but they are full of buds, so it will not be long and this will all be a beautiful show. But who is showing out is Peggy Martin. Look at my beautiful Peggy Martin rose. Isn't she gorgeous? And she is filling out so nicely on my little, what this is where we store, this is where we park our golf cart. This is our storage building, and this is where we will park our golf cart. So Peggy Martin is filling out so nicely on this little carport, I guess. Look how beautiful it is. I want it to just fill up that whole top roof. And she is so beautiful. Now, I did a video about Peggy Martin too, all about the history and the story behind Peggy Martin. So you guys go check that video out, because this story is a story of encouragement to just keep persevering on. Look at our Japanese maple. It is filling out so nicely, and it is so beautiful. So gorgeous. These are my beds in the backyard. It's really gonna be pretty when this ajuga, which is right there, whenever this spreads and fills out and covers the floor of this bed, it is really gonna be pretty. You can see here how it's starting to spread. Got that deep purple. That is a Tassel Fern, which is an evergreen fern. And these are my Pieris, and they have finished blooming. They're a late winter bloomer. They're so pretty when they're blooming, but now they're making their little berries. And my ground cover here is angel vine, and it's just taking over, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Now these beds right here, this bed, and we made another circular bed down there just to kind of break up all these straight squares and straight lines. We needed some curves back here, so we added these little beds to it. And I finally made a decision of what to put in it, and I picked up some bear's breeches from Petals. It's been a few weeks ago, and I put these here, and then I've got the white phlox in front of it that'll just spread and kind of trail over the rocks. But the bear's breeches is just beautiful. I'll put a picture in here of what it looks like in maturity. And I think it's really gonna be a focal point plant right here. I've got Lenton roses, or Hellebores, just kind of popped in all over the place. This one's one of my favorite ones. I think this was called Burgundy. I'll put it on here. And then my mountain laurel is blooming, or the Latin name is Carnea latifolia. Is that not just the sweetest little bloom? And I love the foliage of it. And this is a native plant for us. My Solomon seal is popped up. So I repeated the same thing in this circular bed, and I've got my little bear's breeches there. It's a small baby right now, but it'll grow and it'll be beautiful. More Lenton roses. My gardens are always a work in progress, so I'm always adding. Look at the hostas popped up. Nice. Right here are the new beds that we added in November for my son's wedding. We built the porch and added these beds the end of summer and fall. So all of these things have got some growing to do. These were transplanted from the front garden. So it's gonna take a little while for these to fill out and be pretty. That one is sad. I think I'm gonna have to replace it. And these are Vaccinium dorawai, our dwarf blueberry bush, and this one is called Rosa's Blush. One of my favorite shrubs. I love it. My little drift roses have really been blooming and making a show. This one is apricot. You can see some of them are spent, but look at that sweet bud that these make. So drift roses are made by Knockout. Knockout makes drift roses, and they only get about 1.5 to 2 feet tall, and they have a spread on them that's about 3 feet wide, 2.5 to 3 feet wide usually. And they come in all colors. There's pink and red and double pinks and peach and apricot and popcorn and all different colors. And this one is called apricot. These are limelight hydrangeas. So we just repeated what was on this side of the porch. So those have been planted there for probably about 3 years maybe. And then these were planted here last fall. So they'll catch up though, they'll catch up. And then we've got these arborvitaes that are back here, and they'll actually grow and be probably is about to that height right there. Maybe even to the rail a little bit. So just gotta have patience. Let's take a look at the Potager garden. It is looking so pretty. So pretty. This rose is Clotilde Soupert. Y'all have heard me talk about it a million kajillion times. I just absolutely adore this rose. And on this side, this is Clotilde Soupert, but this is the climber. So it comes in a climber form, which is what this one is. And a shrub form. Which is what that one is. And they were supposed to both be climbers, but somehow I got the wrong one. So whenever we're able to put our fence up right down through here, I'm gonna go back and get a climber to go right there, because I want Clotilde Soupert to climb at the entrance of my gates on both sides. These were gifted to me by my sweet friend Lacey that I worked with at Petals from the past. And I just love them being on my at my front entrance of the gates. Okay, let's walk down this way a little bit. There's so many different things happening here. Let's see, we've got some little Spanish lavenders in here. Oregano. This is phlox, garden phlox, and this one is, I believe this one was John Fanick. Catmint and Maggie Rose. Maggie is so pretty, so fragrant, and she just keeps on blooming, spring, summer, and fall. Now, one of my most favorite things to do in a cottage garden is to put catmint at the base of every rose. I just love that look. All of my Johnny Jump Ups are still out here. All of these volunteered. I brought home from Petals one plant when I first started this bed. I don't even remember what plant it was, but I brought home one plant and it had one little tiny Johnny Jump Up in it, and I planted it. And the next year, I had a bunch of Johnny Jump Ups in this bed. And this year, I have a bunch of Johnny Jump Ups in this bed. And I just left them because I just love them. They're so, so beautiful. But they're finishing up. When it gets hot, the Johnny Jump Ups are done. They don't do well in our heat. So they're about to play out, and I'll pull all of those up. But they're just such a happy little flower. So in this bed where all of the Johnny Jump Ups are is going to be sweet potatoes. And I've already started planting some sweet potatoes in here. Like, I've got some in here. I just kind of pulled the Johnny Jump Ups out of the way and popped in some of the sweet potatoes. I've got some of them planted in here already. I picked up a few more today, so I'm gonna try to finish it out. So we've got the echinaceas are popping up, and this one is the angustifolia, which is one of the ones that's highest in medicinal properties. I've got bishop's flowers in here and larkspurs, and look at this. Here's a peony. I had forgotten that I transplanted some peonies over here. It's exciting. Okay, Spanish lavender. Now, the Spanish lavender is one of my favorites because it does so well in our heat and humidity. It really performs well here in the south. It's got a different kind of bloom. It's more like a they call it like a butterfly bloom. It's a totally different kind of bloom. Now, I do plant some of the other lavenders like the Phenomenal and the Grosso because I like those lavender wands to dry. But as far as being super showy in the garden, this Spanish lavender always outdoes all the other lavenders. Down here, we've got a mix of a whole lot of things going on. There's a eucalyptus, and here's some rudbeckias that reseeded. I think this is the Indian summer. And look at these poppies. These poppies reseeded from last year. So that's fun. And this is yarrow. And I believe this one is Cerise Queen. And back here on the back, we've got some Sweet William and some blanket flower. Now let's go down this side and see what's happening. We've got some yarrows blooming, getting ready to bloom. And this rose is Monsieur Tillier. And I've got wildflowers in here. And here is another peony popping up. More catmint. And yarrow. This yarrow is Achillea millefolium, which is the yarrow that has the most medicinal properties in it. Now at the end of each one of our beds, we've added our blueberries, and we're working on creating beds around our blueberries. So we've got some more rocks, and we've laid down cardboard and compost, and then mulch, leaves, and straw. We moved all of our blueberries over here from the orchard this past winter, really. It was really more like winter when we moved them. So we've got our blueberries in a line going all the way down towards the garden shed. And then we're making these little beds here to go around the blueberries. So we're working on that. We've got 3 of them done. We've got 2 more of these to do. And we've got some berries forming here. I really didn't think we were going to end up with a lot of blueberries this year because we moved them. And I thought it was going to slow them down. And it did. It slowed them down a whole lot. But we're still going to have some berries. So I'm excited about that. Okay, let's take a look inside the potager garden now. So in my first bed here, I've got, let's see, I've got onions and lettuces and thyme. And this is Savory here. This is an herb. It's a little evergreen herb. I popped in some Shasta daisies right here. And there's echinaceas that's popping up. Now these are my carrots. So I need to harvest these because as it gets warmer and it starts getting hot here, the carrots start getting bitter. So I need to get these harvested and use these. And right here, this is the White Acres cabbage. And I've got a little bit of some disease starting here. So I got to tend to that, but they're starting to form their little cabbage heads. Look at my chives. Aren't those beautiful? And then this is the cauliflower, and this one is the white cauliflower right through here. Now, am I actually going to get cauliflower? I don't know if I will or not, because when it starts getting hot, you know, it starts bolting and we really won't end up getting cauliflower, but I'm hopeful. I'm hoping I'm gonna have time and get some. We're just gonna see. It's always a gamble. It's always a gamble of whether I'm gonna have enough time or not to actually see the fruit from these cool season vegetables. Whenever we plant them in late winter, early spring here in the South, it's always a gamble because it may get hot quicker than normal, and I did plant a little bit later than I should have, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful I'm gonna get some Brussels and cabbage and cauliflower and broccoli. I don't know, but it's worth it to me to give it a shot. It's not taking up much space in my garden, and I've still got plenty of room for all my summer vegetables, so it's worth it for me to see how we do. Okay, so in my little circles here is my cool season vegetables that I've planted. And then right here where all these Johnny jump ups are, this is where my sweet potatoes are gonna be planted, and I've already started planting some of those. So I've got to finish the rows out tomorrow on those. Okay, this second bed over here, I've kind of repeated the same thing. I've got my onions and lettuces and thymes here. And right here is carrots, and I've got some beets that's coming up. So I'm excited about that. I really hope they turn out because I want to make some more of my beet juice. Y'all can go check that video out too. This is Red Acres cabbage, so I'm hopeful that I'm going to actually get some cabbage. Maybe. And then back here is cauliflower, and one of them is the purple graffiti that I grew last fall, and it was so beautiful and so delicious. And the other one is the new Flame Star that Hoss has, and it's like an orange yellow color. So I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not, but I'm gonna be excited if I do. And this is my potatoes, and this one is the German butterball potatoes. We ended up with a lot of potatoes this year, a lot. In fact, they're taking up 3 of my beds, and I've got them planted in big, they're like 15-gallon containers. I've got 4 of those planted with potatoes, so we've got a lot. I ordered my seed potatoes from Hoss Tools, and when I got them in, they were like in these huge bags. I wasn't expecting them to be so big. And so I ended up with a lot of potatoes. But we're excited about that because we eat a lot of potatoes, and I really would love to be able to grow enough potatoes to get me through the whole year. Like, that would be superb if I could do that, because we eat a lot of potatoes. Okay, this is my 3rd bed, and I've got the same thing here. I've got lettuces and onions, and I'm fixing to harvest a big bunch of this lettuce because we're having all of our family over Sunday. I'm gonna make us a nice salad. I've just got different kinds of lettuce here. I've got Braveheart, Stargazer, Purple Ruffles, all different kinds of lettuce that I've planted from Hoss. And they just look so pretty, I think. But this second row here is some carrots, and I sowed some kale and beets here, but they haven't come up. I don't know what the deal is with my kale. It's not coming up. Okay, this is Red Acre and Green Acre cabbage here and here. And they're looking pretty good. Oh yeah, they're looking good. Now these right here, these are kind of sad, but this is my butterfly pea, that purple pea that you make the tea out of, that's so high in medicinal value, and they just, I don't know what's wrong with them. I was so excited about this plant, and I ordered the seeds from Baker Creek, and I had a really hard time getting them to germinate. And I've ended up with like 3 or 4, think I just ended up with 3 plants actually germinating out of that whole packet of seed. And these are the 3 that I've got, and they look terrible. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna try to boost them with some fertilizer again and see if I can pump them up. But I really was excited about these. I want them to fill out this trellis and just fill it up, and I really wanted to try making that medicinal tea with them. So I'm kind of bummed about that, but I'm gonna see if I can't get some nutrients to them again and see if we can bring them to life, because I really want that to happen. And behind the cabbages, I've got broccoli, and this is the Green Magic broccoli. And Greg at Hoss Tools said that this is the broccoli that is to grow for it to be more heat tolerant. So I was thinking if I planted the Green Magic, then maybe I might actually end up with some broccoli before it gets too super hot and they start bolting and getting yucky. Now these are more potatoes. So these first 2 rows are the Austrian fingerling potatoes, and those back 2 rows is more of the German butterball potatoes. Okay, I've got some bok choy here that's already bolting. It's trying to go to flower. It just doesn't like the heat that we've had. I keep coming by and pinching off the flowers, but it just keeps on doing it. So I'm gonna come in and take a pretty good harvest of this, and we're gonna eat that. On my trellis here, I've got some cucumbers growing. These are the pickling cucumbers from Hoss, and they're kind of deficient. Well, they're really deficient. I need to give them some food, fertilize them. And this is sage, garden sage, just common garden sage. And isn't it beautiful when it's blooming? Of course, it's not as good culinary use when it's blooming, because the energy's going into the bloom and kind of takes away from the flavor, but I still love it. All right, this is my garlic here. Now this garlic right here is garlic that I planted 2 falls ago. And it was Spanish, red Spanish, and shoot, I can't remember the name of the other one, but I'll put it in the bottom of this video. But I planted this 2 falls ago, and then I harvested my garlic, and I saved my garlic bulbs. And I cooked with them all year, and then I replanted what I had left because it was starting to go bad. So I replanted the ones that I had left this past fall. And so this is my garlic from that. And I love to save that garlic and then just keep replanting it year after year after year. So that's what these garlics are. And these are kohlrabi that I've planted. Excited about those. They're so delicious. Okay, right here are my olive trees, my Arbequina olives. And I've got one in this center bed with my Spanish lavender and different herbs. And then I've got one right down there in that center bed. Well, both of them died again this year, so I've replaced them. My little friend Miles from Naked Hog was over here Friday night for the party in the Potager, and he broke the end of my olive tree. Now, it was funny. We were sitting around the campfire. All of us grown-ups were sitting around the campfire. The kids were just running all in the garden. The girls were making these beautiful head pieces out of the Spanish lavender blooms and the clover blooms. I mean, beautiful. They're so talented. Those girls are just so talented. But they were making these beautiful hair pieces, head pieces, and they were all just playing, just having a blast. And all of us adults were sitting by the campfire. Well, Miles came over to me and he said, "Miss Tracy, I broke your tree in your, I broke one of your plants in your garden. I said, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all right. It'll grow back. And he said, I think it was your olive tree. And I said, okay, let's go check that out. So we come over here and looked at it, and he had just broke the tip off of it. It's not that big of a deal. It's okay. It's not a big deal at all. What's funny is, though, they spent the night with us Saturday night after the Antiques in the Garden YouTube meet and greet. And Sunday morning, he brought me the piece that he had broke off. And he asked me, could I propagate it? He said, could you propagate your olive tree? And I think his dad and Jean put him up to that. I'm pretty positive that they did. But anyway, he was just the cutest thing. And then later on that afternoon, I found it stuck in the ground, in the dirt. He was trying to get it to grow again. He felt so bad about it. But it was not a big deal at all. He was so stinking cute. I mean, how can you be upset with somebody when they're that cute? So anyway, I replaced my 2 olive trees. This will be the 3rd olive tree I've planted in these 2 beds. I am determined that the olive tree is going to be the center of my potager garden. I'm determined. Like, it's going to be. It has to be. It's spiritually significant, and it has to be in the center of this potager garden. So I'm just going to keep trying until I achieve success. Okay, now this is the star of the potager garden right now. This is the rose trellis, or the rose arch, really. And this is Rosa Multiflora Carnea. And isn't she lovely? So beautiful. I am so pleased with this rose trellis. Like, I am just so pleased with this. Rosa Multiflora Carnea is a rambler. So it grows really well on this kind of trellis. Like, it is just really shaping and forming to this trellis so nicely. I am so happy with this. It's probably one of the many favorite things in my garden. And look at this bird's nest up here. So what I did was I planted a Rosa Multiflora here and here. And then I planted a New Dawn climber there and there. Because New Dawn is a repeat bloomer and Rosa Multiflora is not. It's only a spring show. But look at this show. It is totally worth it. So I thought I would have a repeat bloomer on the opposite end. Well, New Dawn just wasn't growing. It wasn't moving. It wasn't growing. So I decided I really love the way that the Rambling Rose, the way that it grows, the form that it takes. I really love the way it is growing on this cattle panel trellis and how it's just attaching itself to it. It's super easy to train like this, and it's growing so beautifully on this. And New Dawn has a different kind of growth form that it takes. So I decided what I would do. I dug up the 2 New Dawns, and I've got them in a pot over there in the greenhouse, and they're growing like mad. I was going to put them on my new fence that's going to go in the potager garden that I thought we were about to start building, but we've ended up with some barn damage, and now my little savings that I had toward that is going to go toward fixing the barn. So I'll find New Dawn home though. But I dug her up, and I've put in 2 more Rosa Multiflora Carneas. So this arch has 4 Rosa Multiflora Carneas. Now you can kind of see it right there. It's small. I just planted it, but it's okay. This rose grows so stinking fast. Like, it's just a super fast grower. And when this thing fills out on all ends with that rose, that is just going to be magnificent. It already is. Like, it's already so, so beautiful. I love that. It's gorgeous. So, like I said, this is the star of the Potager garden right now. And I wish you could smell her, because when you walk through this tunnel, you don't even have to walk through the tunnel. You can enter the gate and you just smell it. It is just such a beautiful, sweet fragrance. Okay, this is bed 4, and I have more lettuce and onions there, and cucumbers. And this was carrots, beets, and kale. But again, my beets and kale didn't come up here, so I'll be planting something else there. This is more cabbages, and this is more broccolis. And then these rows here, I think squash is going here. I'll have to go back and look at my plan. I haven't planted anything in these rows yet, but I think it's going to be squash. And that right there is a volunteer cilantro that is going to flower. And when it goes to seed, the seed will be coriander seed. So I'm just letting this one go to flower and seed. But every spring and every fall, this bed cilantro just pops up all over inside this bed. It just has reseeds itself, and it just pops up every spring and fall. Summertime, it's completely gone. No sign of it at all. And then fall will roll around and it'll pop back up somewhere within this bed right here. And that is because cilantro does not like our heat and humidity, but we can grow it really well in early spring and summer. This is a volunteer sunflower that's just popped up, so I'm gonna leave it. And here, now this is exciting. This is something new. This is called Mizuna, I believe is how you pronounce it. I could be totally wrong, but I think it is Mizuna. And I got this from Baker Creek, and it's supposed to be a super, super high nutrient dense vegetable. So I'm going to research it a little bit more and see what's the best way to prepare it and to eat it. But I'm excited about that. I'm excited to try that. I love to try new things. This is more garden sage. Look how beautiful this garden sage is. My gosh, that purple is just like almost translucent. It is so, so pretty. This trellis, I have got the Black-Eyed Susan growing on it, and they are teeny, teeny, teeny tiny, but they're gonna grow, and they're just gonna fill this trellis out nicely. It's gonna be so, so pretty. All right here, I've got some deal, and those are collard greens. So I should be able to get a couple of good messes of collards before it gets too hot. Okay, this is bed number 5, and here, I don't know what that was. This is bed number 5, and what I've got going on here, these are my trellises. Last year I had tomatoes here. This year I'm putting peas, probably peas on these trellises. But on each side of the trellis here and over there, I've got Brussels sprouts, and I've got all kinds of Brussels sprouts here. Now, am I gonna get Brussels sprouts? I don't know, but like I said earlier, I'm gonna give it a go. We're gonna see how it goes. Last year, I harvested a lot of Brussels sprouts before it got too hot for them. So I'm hopeful I'm gonna end up getting some this year. Now on each end of the beds here, I have squashes, winter squashes. These are spaghetti squashes, and I always plant nasturtiums and radishes with my squash because it helps with squash bugs and squash vine borers. My radishes haven't come up yet, so it looks like I'm gonna have to re-sow those. but you can see I've got my nasturtiums in here with them. So what I do is I make me like a little hill. You can kind of see where I've made a hill. I plant my squash, I plant a nasturtium, and I plant radish seeds. That's my little companion planting that I do with my squash. And it's so far, I mean, every year I've had really good success. Since I started doing that, I've had really good success with my squash. So if it works, I'm gonna keep doing it. I do that with my yellow squash, my zucchini, my butternuts, my spaghetti squash, all my squashes I do that way. Right here, I've got some calendulas planted, and over here on the end, I've got a roselle hibiscus planted. I've got one there, and I've got one on that end, and I've got a few in the medicinal garden back here. I've got one down at that end too. And then Sheila from House Tools, so sweet, she brought me a gift when she came to the party in the Potager. She brought me a roselle hibiscus plant, and she brought me some salve that she made from it, and she brought me some wine that she made from the roselle. And that wine is so good, y'all. Like, it's so, so good. So she brought me those sweet gifts. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. This is the roselle plant that Sheila brought me, so I'm excited to find a home for that. If you guys aren't growing roselle hibiscus, you really should give it a try if you've got room in your garden. Now, it gets fairly big. It gets about 5 feet tall or so, but it's really a beautiful plant, and it makes a delicious tea. It's a hibiscus tea, which is also like super high in nutrients too, antioxidants, and just a really good tea for you. But when Jean and I were in Guatemala on a mission trip, they made us tea. Rosa de Jamaica is what it was called, and it was hibiscus tea, and it was from this. So I fell in love with it. I love it. Jean's not a big fan of it, but he'll tolerate if we put a little honey in it. But it's a really good tea. It's really good for you, and this is a beautiful plant. And if you have space in your garden, give this one a try. It's roselle hibiscus. Can definitely go order you some seeds from House Tools. There's a link below in the description here if you want to go get you some. But you should try this plant and try making you some tea from it. It's really, really good. Okay, this is my bed number 6, and I have got some calendulas, and I've got squash in here. This is all my yellow squash and zucchini squash, and you can see I've got my nasturtiums planted in here with it. Something's been digging in my garden. And I did radish seeds, but I don't see any of them coming up, so I'll re-sow seed. I think I sowed old radish seeds, so I'm gonna get my new packet that Hoss sent me and get those resown. Right here, I'm gonna put some flowers, probably maybe some zinnias. Hadn't quite made my mind up yet. Right there, I've got some onions, and tomatoes are all along my trellises here. So this is the tomatillo tomato, and I'm excited about this because this is the verde, the green tomato, and I'm excited. I'm going to try to make my son Chase some of that green salsa this year. He loves it. And these are all tomatoes that I've got planted. I've got to come in here and pinch off the suckers and take off some of the lower stems. So all along my cattle panel trellises here, these are tomatoes, and in between the tomatoes I have basils planted, and on the back side of the trellis there I've got garlic planted, and that is more of the garlic that I had saved. That's my garlic seed. I've got quite a few different tomatoes planted out here. I'll have to get my garden journal to know exactly which was which. But I've got Juliet's and San Marzano. I've got Hossinator and Boxcar Willie, Abe Lincoln. I'm excited about that one. I've got the Mountain Vineyard. I've got Cherokee Purple, of course. Like, I will never be without Cherokee Purple. I've got Celebrity and Homestead, and oh my goodness, I can't even remember all the different tomatoes that I planted. But as they start coming up, I'm going to be talking to y'all a lot more about tomatoes. Well, y'all, it's starting to get dark on me really quick out here, so I think I'm going to have to just call it and pick up on our tour in the morning. So I'm going to say good night right now, and I'll see y'all in the morning and we'll finish our tour out.